I will become wealthy. Number 2 is money is a tool. And number 3 is that money is abundant. Starting with I will become wealthy. The reason why I say it like that, I will become wealthy, not that I can become wealthy, is because wealth starts in your mindset. It doesn't start in your bank account. And if you don't believe that somebody like you can become wealthy because of the way you grew up, the way you look, your ethnicity, or whatever circumstances you've been dealt, I can guarantee you're never going to have that wealth for yourself. And so you have to believe, and I mean wholeheartedly believe, that you are going to become wealthy, because if you don't, it's going to be impossible. And I'll dig a little bit deeper into that in just a minute on how you can do that. Number 2 is that money is abundant. And what I mean by that is what happens to a lot of people is you start your financial education journey, you start to think about investing and how can I earn more money and how do I use my money smartly. And then you get into this sometimes envy where it's, if this person's making money, that means it's money that I can't have. If I'm paying you, you're getting rich, I'm not. And this is where it starts to create a little bit of these negative emotions around money. But what I'd like to kind of emphasize here is that there's a lot of money in the world. There's a lot of dollars in the world. All you need is a small little sliver of that, and it could change your life drastically, and your kids' lives and your grandkids' lives. And so remember that there's a lot of money out there, and it's not a competition of, the reason why a lot of people think of this money being limited is because growing up, what do we fight for? We fight for attention. And so if you have siblings, if your brother or sister is getting the attention, you're not getting it. And so when you fight for that attention, it's all or nothing in a sense, because there's a finite amount of attention somebody can give you. But when it comes to money, it's not like that. You don't have to be a winner and a loser. You could be a winner and a winner. And so it's a very difficult concept, and it's very unique. But that's one of the things that's unique about money, is that you have the ability to build wealth and see other people build wealth. And the third part is that money is a tool. And what I mean by this is that money is not good. Money is not bad. More money doesn't make you a good person. More money doesn't make you a bad person. It just amplifies who you are. If you give a good person more money, they have a tool to do more good. If you give a bad person more money, they have a tool to do more bad. Many times, I know in our native Punjabi culture, there's a big taboo around money. And what that means is there's a lot of people that talk about money. It's bad, it's evil, you shouldn't talk about money, don't stress about money. Yet at the same time, every single person is going to work to get paid to pay your bills. And so when you say money is bad, but then you're stressing about your bills, there's a disconnect there. And this is where you got to understand, it costs money to eat, it costs money to feed other people. Money is something that is necessary to be able to live a fulfilling and free life. So how do you attract the money without giving up your soul and without giving up everything else in your life? So I would say start with those three, understanding that number 1, I will become wealthy. Number 2, money is abundant. And number 3, money is a tool.
I really appreciate each of those, and there's so much to dive into each around those. But just where you left off just then, I just want to pick that up for a sec, because there is a stress that is created in our lives when we feel that way about money. Like you said, it's like money is just a tool, right? But if we feel negatively around money and we're going out and working for it, then so much of our day trading of our time for energy for money, which we will talk about why that it may not be the optimum strategy, but day trading our time for money, we are going to be doing it to support ourselves, our living. We live in a capitalistic structure. It's pretty hard to escape the system. And it is the best model we've got thus far. Maybe there are new models coming. I don't know. Maybe But in that space, we've got to, just the stress that causes on a personal level. Can you speak to that a little bit? I'm sure other people have asked you something around that, right? Like if you're feeling like money is evil and you're showing up every day for something that you feel is evil, like a necessary evil.
Well, I think there's a couple parts to that. The first part is money bad? And you got to remember, why do you have, or understand, why do you have this negative association with money? And many times it's because of the way that we were raised. If your parents, when you were young, told you rich people are evil, we can't afford nice things, we can't have nice things, that's too much money, what do you think is going to be associated in your mindset when you think of money? That people who have money are bad, that wealthy people are evil, that I will never be able to have these nice and expensive things because that's for rich people. Rich people are bad and I can't do that. So you
But it
create this
also,
righteousness.
I don't want to interrupt there, but it also is pretty insidious because you look like the what you hear in the news and media of the wealthy in particular, because there's so many rich people that aren't corrupt, but especially in our culture, brother, like you look, you know, what you hear in the news all the time is like, oh, such and such, you know, corruption and such corruption. You're like, oh, people that play at those levels with big money end up corrupt, and you're like, oh, money corrupts. Do you know what I mean? That's also part of the story as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to add a point.
Absolutely. There are rich people that are corrupt. There are poor people that are corrupt. There are middle-class people that are corrupt. The people that get the attention are the rich people because they're the ones that are going to get the headlines. And so, I mean, the reality is there are good people and bad people at every income level. There are good people and bad people in every culture, in every religion, in every facet of the world. But of course, some are going to take more headlines than others because the media loves getting clicks, and that's what they're good at. And so the first thing is, you got to just understand money is a tool. It is a part of our lives. And so if we have this mindset that money is evil, ask yourself why. And why is it evil for you? If you were given $1 million today, are you going to turn into a horrible person and just do a lot of bad things? Or do you have a tool to help out other people and help out your family and help out your finances? And this is where now, if you start to get to that realization that, oh, you know what? More money would actually benefit me where I am in my situation. I'd be able to buy something for my kids. I'd be able to get something for my husband or my wife. I'd be able to take better care of my parents who are sick. This is where that understanding that, there are some bad people out there, rich people. There are some bad people out there, poor people. There are some bad people out there that are middle class. But I want to have that money so I can have the financial freedom. Because what I talk about is what I call the quadruped theory, that if you want to live a happy and fulfilled life, you have to be fit in 4 different areas of life. You have to be physically fit, you have to be mentally fit, you have to be spiritually fit, and you have to be financially fit. Now, physically fit means being healthy. You don't have to have a six-pack, but if you're morbidly obese, all you want is to be healthy again. When you're sick, all you want is to be healthy. That's the only thing that's on your mind. If you're not mentally fit, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're surrounded by toxic people that are constantly bringing you down, you gotta improve that mental state. And sometimes the unfortunate part is many people believe that if I just had $1 million, I'll find the love of my life, that all these good things are gonna happen to me. I'm gonna be happy. People are gonna chase behind me and like me. And the unfortunate reality is, if you have that mindset and you achieve that money, you're going to end up more miserable than you were in the first place because you realize that the money didn't solve the problem and now you're in a big black hole. And so understanding that physical fitness is its own level, the mental fitness is its own level, then there's a spiritual fitness, which doesn't have to be religious. It's what's your purpose? What is your reason for getting up out of bed every single morning? What is that thing that gets you excited? Which, again, many people think that if I just have money that is going to give me purpose, but it doesn't work like that. Your purpose is its own thing. And then at the very top, you have the financial fitness. It's separate. Your financial fitness is what gives you the financial freedom to do more of the things that you love. And sure, that financial fitness can allow you to do more things to give you the physical fitness. You get better gym memberships, eat better food, get better trainers, get a chef, do whatever you want. It can improve your mental fitness. It can get you better therapists. It can get you better help. It can improve your spiritual fitness because now you have the ability to travel and meet more people and help more people. But it can also destroy those things if you don't have the money. If you don't have money, it can destroy your physical fitness because now you're eating at McDonald's and Burger King all day, every day. It can destroy your mental fitness because you're always stressed about money. Money issues are one of the leading causes of suicide and divorce in America. It can destroy your spiritual fitness because if you're constantly stressed about your bills, you can lose your sense of purpose. And so understanding they're all intertwined, but it's separate at the same time. Your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your spiritual fitness are separate than your financial fitness, and having more money is going to allow you to be a more financially fit person, but it's an important part of living a fulfilled life.
I think when you speak to the other three dimensions, like the physical and the emotion, and the spiritual, and the key thing around that, they feel very much within our control to some degree. You can argue maybe spirit requires a little bit of grace, but for the most part, that you can work on your practices. You can, for someone like myself, work on your meditations, go to Gurdwara, and you can start to really understand certain things, but I think for some people, if feeling into it, and maybe this comes back to the "I will become wealthy." For some people, financial doesn't quite feel like it's in their control, and this is what I love about minority mindset the most, which is just like, oh my god, you've just got your hands just end up back on the reins in a really powerful way. But obviously, I will at some point stop evangelizing the channel, um, but yeah, like the control piece, because do you get that? Like, a lot of people feel like financial fitness is actually beyond their control, whereas it really is within their control, right? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think you similarly have people that believe that physical fitness is out of their control. Uh, that because of genetics, because of whatever, that I can't be healthy or healthier. That my mental fitness is out of my control because I had gone through certain tragedies, certain traumas that have impacted my mental health. That your spiritual fitness is out of control for a number of reasons. That your soul is impacted or whatever is going on with that. I'm a firm believer that you can be in charge of your own destiny if you're willing to put in the work. That's for physical fitness, mental fitness, spiritual fitness, and financial fitness, because I've seen it in every single one of these happen. Doesn't mean it's easy. You got to be willing to bust your butt, but it is possible if you are willing to put in the work, if you are willing to learn, if you are willing to try, and if you're willing to fail. It's not easy, but if you stick with it, you're going to see improvement. And when you see improvement, you know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you just got to stick with it. And it's just like with anything else. To see success in anything, whether it's with your body, with your mind, with your spirit, with your money, it's a long-term game. But a lot of times we get sucked up into the in finance, we call it the get-rich-quick schemes, because nobody wants to get rich slowly. And so what do? You start looking for, what's the next hot stock that I should dump my money into? What's the next cryptocurrency or thing that I should dump my money into that's going to make me a lot of money very quickly? What's the next quick business that can make me $10,000 a month passively? We're looking for those quick fixes, when in reality, those quick fixes are what's keeping you back. Those quick fixes are what's keeping you broke financially. And the reality is, building wealth, real sustainable wealth, is not a very attractive thing. If somebody at the age of 21 took $100 every single month and they invested it into the stock market, into the S&P 500, they did that every month from the age of 21 until 66, the numbers show us that you would retire a millionaire with $100 a month. Now, why is that not actually being done? Because you can't show off your stock market portfolio the way you can a BMW. You can't show off that investment portfolio the way you can a Rolex. You can't show it off the way you can a trip to Cancun or Ibiza or somewhere else on Instagram. And so when you put your money into the markets, we're talking about decades when that BMW gives the instant gratification. And so what's the point? YOLO. And then everybody says, well, Jaspreet, I don't want $1 million. That's not enough. What's the point of only having $1 million? It's so you don't have $0 when you're 66. And remember what I said, this is $100 a month for the next 45, 46 years. As you make more money, you can also invest more money. If next year you invest $110 a month, the year after that you do $125 a month, the year after that you do $150 a month, you're not going to have $1 million, you'll have millions of dollars.
Hey there guys, this conversation is about the mindset of financial abundance, and I know it's a really incredible one. We're about to dive in even deeper into the different mindsets around money and what is the best investment that you can make in yourself and in the world. As always, we're having spiritual mindset oriented conversations here on the channel every week. Two podcasts come out every week, and everything you see around here is powered and empowered by your subscription to the channel. So if you can do us a massive favor, if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much in advance for your incredible love and support. And for those of you that are subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for doing so. Really, it helps, like I said, everything around here. Without too much further ado, today's episode.
But this requires the discipline to, number one, believe it's possible, the education to understand this, and then actually executing it. Even during times where you see craziness, during times where you see a recession, during times where you see market crashes, because in the United States, we have seen a recession or a market crash every decade for the last century, sometimes multiple. Yet despite that, we have seen the stock market rise by 10% a year on average. Not that it goes up 10% every year, but on average, despite the downturns, despite the market crashes, despite the recessions, it has still gone up by around 10% a year on average. But this is where that discipline lies, the education lies, the willing to stick with it lies, and the long-term thinking, which is difficult. And if you can stick with something, if you can continue learning, if you're willing to put in the work, when everybody else is partying, when everybody else is blowing their money, when you're doing something that the majority of people are not doing, that's why I call it the minority mindset, not because you have to look different, it's thinking differently. If you keep doing what everybody else does, you're going to end up like everybody else. And today, the majority of people are broke, the majority of people are unhappy, the majority of people are fat, and the majority of people are unfulfilled. And I don't say this in a general term, I mean this statistically, that more than 50% of people are each one of these things. And so if you don't want to live like everybody else, you can't keep doing what everybody else does. And when it comes to your money, that means number one, stop spending all of your money. Number two, make yourself rich before you make everybody else rich. And our economic system is designed to benefit investors. It is not designed to benefit the employee. It is not designed to benefit the consumer. We're never taught this in school. I had to learn this the hard way. But if you understand this, you can use the system to your advantage instead of being the one that gets screwed over by the system. If you don't have any money to go out and invest, it doesn't matter what's going on in the markets. It doesn't matter if you found an amazing investment opportunity tomorrow. If the stock market glitched tomorrow and you could buy any stock you wanted for 90% off, but you have no money to invest because all of your money is going to pay off your credit card bills, well, that doesn't do you any good because now you don't have the money to actually take advantage of that opportunity.